been over there over the interviews at the moment with the iPad and we've been talking for hours at a time. Oh, no, we took the wrong place. No, but they've got two. Yeah, the policeman's the son and daughter. His wife's a fine doctor, and they met up. Stuart was a policeman up in up in Hayden was a fine doctor. He was a doctor together, and she comes out here on the same man as I do his gang members and things too. Oh, right, okay. Oh, right. Yeah, oh, 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 good. Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Toowoomba Light, yeah. Yeah. I did live here one day a few years ago. It was only very briefly, just pulled up outside the post office. And we had time to say hello. And we was then going at the time. He was busy. In his time here, we always interviewed. We always worked together. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Testing, testing.
yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're there in April. Oh, right. Yeah, it was a great guy. His wife was a school teacher, and he did some work on them housing schemes. Pardon? Here? No, she's got the shaded business. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yes. Yeah, I just said hello to her. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's it. So welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to my mother's farewell, as we're calling it. Mum was pretty straightforward what she wanted. When we spoke a few days before she passed, was to be reunited with Serge. That's all she wanted to do and wanted to be when she passed on. So it was quite easy for us to sit there and go, well, that's all we have to do, is bring them back together. So a little funny story. So since Dad passed 3 years ago, we've sort of just had him sitting in the lounge room with Mum and really not knowing what we were going to do with his ashes. So when Scotty come out over Easter, we said, well, you know, we should do something about this, you know, get him to rest. We spread a few ashes around at the footy ground and the race course and a few in the pub. But we thought, oh, well, you know, we better do something with him. And then Mum sort of looked at us and went, no, let's just wait and see what happens, eh? So who knows? She must have knew that something was going to come to fruition and she was going to get the chance to be laid to rest with Dad. So many people that I see here knew my mother very, very well and my father. My mother was always the lady, and she was always very making sure that if she committed to something that she couldn't make it, she was very apologetic for that. So Mum sent me a message this morning and said, look, she apologised to everyone that she can't make it today. But she's got an appointment with her beautiful husband and they're up there having a scotch or two right now. So she apologises for that, but I'm sure we'll all be okay. So today's about bringing Mum and Dad together. Today's about celebrating her life. Today's about honouring who they were and who they were as our parents. I'd like to thank all our family that's come along. It's been fantastic the last 2 nights on the grog. It's been awesome. And it was Dad's shout too, by the way, which is very strange. So yes, once again, welcome everyone. And we've got some family that are going to come up and say some beautiful words. So first of all, I'd like to call my brother Scott Pelizzari to start the eulogies. Thank you, Scotty. Can you hear me all right? Righto. I've got a loud voice, Uncle. Go up. You want that? No. All right. That's good. Hey, thanks.
All right,
All yours.
thank you. Firstly, I'd like to take this moment to obviously thank everyone for coming. Fantastic turnout, really appreciate it. Particularly everyone that's travelled a long way to be with us. We appreciate the love and support and the well wishes that you've given us and bring to us. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Ben, not only for organising today, which is a great effort, but for the past 4 years since Dad passed, he's taken on running the pub and become Mum's primary carer. I know she often would tell me what a great job he's done and that she couldn't do it without him. But I know if Dad was here, he'd be overwhelmingly proud of you.
Thanks, bro.
Today you're going to hear from Mum's childhood, from those that shared it with her, her brother Ken and her sister Nikki.
And Doug.
And Doug. And Doug. Yeah. They'll come up and have a few words about that time that they shared with her. So I'll start the tribute here in 1966, if I may. Nerily, Mum, or Nell, as many of you knew her, was just turning 18, living in Gympie, and was going to visit her mum in the Gympie Hospital. Her mum, Elsa, had introduced her to this charming young man from Brisbane who had just moved to Gympie to work in a bank. So during that visit and at the end, I also said to Mum, "That's a lovely young man, you should go out with him." As Mum tells the story, as if you'd go out with someone that your mum wanted you to go out with. That's never going to happen. Well, anyway, that young man was determined and he tried to arrange several dates with Mum. And in the end, he probably just gave in and said, "Okay, let's just go out for a date." But after that first date, as Mum told it, they were a couple. They were going steady. That young man was our dad, Serge, or Steve, as he was known to Mum's side of the family back then. From that time on, they were an inseparable couple. And they were married on the 3rd of February 1968. Later that year, not too later, I arrived. So here's Mum, just about to turn 20, working in a supermarket. Dad, just about to turn 22, working in a bank. And me, all living together in Gympie. Now, they were a strong couple, but different personalities. A bit of yin and yang, really. Dad, ambitious, determined, headstrong, could do anything, set his mind to, bit of the centre of attention. Mum, cautious, shy, little standoffish, unbelievably strong and reliable. And when you put them together, they just, along with a really strong work ethic that had been instilled to them at a young age, they could take on any challenge. Well, that was if Dad could convince Mum that that was the right challenge for them to take on. She was in 110%. So not long after that, Dad was given the opportunity by his father, Ben Sr., to buy, own and run the Union Hotel in Barcaldine. So I'm still not sure how it was that Dad convinced Mum to come to Barcaldine and run a pub. He'd never run any pub. She'd hardly ever been to a pub. And I remember her saying to her mum, "What's running a pub about?" And her mum said, "You just got to make people happy. You'll be fine. Give it a crack." So that was it. Off they went. And on the 16th of February 1970, that 23-year-old Serge, his 21-year-old wife Nel, a screaming brat kid called Scott, turned up at the Union Hotel, hereforth known by the whole family as the pub. Now they both got to work. They worked hard and they turned that life back into that pub and they brought some life back into the town. They were a hard-working couple, good-looking, and they liked to party. The pub became a popular place, and over time they introduced new things like the Friday night barbecue, which was basically just that, a big old barbecue that Bob Riddle helped put together. And that became a place where husbands could take their wives, young couples could get together, work groups and functions would start booking tables as the nights got bigger. Now Dad was into everything: Apex, cricket, darts, swimming club, every association in town he was a member of. So when he was off doing all those extracurricular things, Mum and her army of helpers, Helen Riddle, Annie Borlison, Carn Brown, and many, many, many more, kept that pub running. Even in 1972, when Benny arrived, Dad had to go to Brisbane, have a massive knee operation. Well, the helpers, along with Mum's sister Alvina, kept that pub open, and it was an all-ladies affair. So they were well ahead of their time back then. Mum had her things too, obviously. She was in the ladies' Apex, played the darts, loved netball, and I even found an old scorecard for golf. So at some stage she played a game of golf. So we'll tick that down. So Mum's running the pub when Dad's away, and the young hooligans in town loved it because they could get away with it just a little bit more with Mum than they could with Dad. So here's Mum telling this story of when Dad came back. He was still laid up, couldn't get around, had to rest that knee. And that young rebel-y crew, Brownie, Dick the dentist and all those young guys, sadly a few have passed and those young guys aren't so young anymore. But they would be in there and Mum would be saying, "Listen guys, you've got to keep the noise down or he's going to be in here finding out what's going on." So to help Mum out, Dick the dentist decided it'd be a great idea to take his Pee-wee 50 and ride it around the bar. Now the story goes that Dick rode that bike on the bar, but Mum guarantees me, no, he just rode it around twice around the bar. So here it is, Dick, Pee-wee 50, riding around, everyone cheering, yelling, carrying on, and sure enough, clump, clump, clump. Mum could hear the crutches coming down, and then she could hear, Nell, what's that bloody Brasnet up to? As he got to the bar, Dick shot out the door and was gone, and Mum approached him and said, nothing going on here, Serge, it's all good, go back to bed, rest up. Well, the rest of the crew were in the bar just waving out the blue smoke out the door. I think she knew that sometimes it was better to say nothing than try and explain the unexplainable. But she took all that stuff in her stride. She worked the bar, she cooked, cleaned, looked after 2 brat kids. She could do it all. So I'm still not sure how, 10 years after that, he convinced her that it would be great to pack up the family and move us all out to this little piece of rock called Bustinia. It was his plan after all, and I'm sure if you asked her, it was never in her wildest dreams to go out to the bush. So she was leaving the pub, somewhere where she knew she could do all the jobs, she was confident, she had helpers and friends there to move to this patch of rock near Jericho. But off she went, and again she was in 110%. Now I remember the story, and there's no one left to disparage this story, so this is the truth, that we were moving to Bustinia because Dad was going to work on his art. Now we did a shit ton of work at Bustinia. We fenced, we mustered, we built yards, we pulled bores, we fenced, we dug heartleaf, we fenced, we checked waters, we fenced. I don't remember one bit of art getting done out there, that's for sure. And Mum was there for it all. She helped with everything. And then on top of that, Dad decided that it'd be a great idea to go into a transporting business with Bob and Helen Riddle, and he would transport roo meat from Barcaldine to Brisbane. Fantastic idea. Just meant he was away for 3 or 4 days a week. So now Mum's having to run this whole show. Keep me and Ben apart, do all the jobs that needed to be done. And then she started working at the TAB and later at the school. Who knew working on the land didn't pay the bills? Even with this busy life going on, she still liked to go out and have a party with Dad and us boys. So that would start as a quick drop in to the Bailey's place on a Friday afternoon to say hi, and it would grow into a party from there. Now Dad was the life of the party. He's happy-go-lucky, singing, dancing, making sure everyone had a drink, and at 4 the next morning he was calling the roosters. But Mum was right there with him, having fun. And I can never actually remember her nagging him to say, let's go, let's leave early, we got so many jobs to do, let's get out of here. Nah, she was in it. If we were doing this tonight, it's 110%, we're in it. She just wouldn't drive home afterwards. Mum didn't really learn to drive until she was later in life. She didn't really like it, but I can only ever remember her having one accident. Now, if any of you remember the road from the gate at Bustinia to the house, it was 95% rock and boulders and one tiny stretch of river sand. Well, one Sunday morning when Mum was driving Ben and I into a football game, Mum hit that river sand and the old Austin Kimberley that we had flicked across the road and straight into a tree. She rode it off. Now, she was devastated, but Dad was good, no one was hurt, he was fine. And in the end, that army green Kimberley Austin was scrapped and we got the yellow Overlander panel van. We finally had a bit of street cred. So she did good there. I would often hear Mum say that I wish she was more determined and brave to give things a go. However, I can recall many times when she was. One particular day that I'll share with you, Dad was in town, had the car. Me and my mate Nev from across the next property, Nev Hansen, we'd shot off on our motorbikes and we were gone. all day we'd go riding. We were right out the back between our two properties. And I came off the bike, and of course no helmets, and I took a pretty nasty cut. So Nev decided that we needed to go back to his house that was closer, and we got there. His mum took one look and said, "You're going to hospital." They rang Mum on the old party line, long, short, long. She picked up. "Nell, you've got to come over. Your son's been in an accident." So here she is, no car, just Bob Riddle's old second-hand Toyota Hilux ute. Now this old ute had a problem of getting stuck in second gear. So you'd start off fine, first, second, clunk, that's it, wouldn't go any further. And me and Ben and Dad knew how to change it, we could get it out, but Mum said, "I'm never driving that car, ever." But she had no option. So sure enough, in she hopped, driving along, clunk, second gear, there it's stuck. But she just kept on persevering, nice and slow, down the highway to Hanson's, into their house. Thankfully the Hansons drove us in, or we'd be still driving today. But she did it. She had no option. She just got in and did it. Mum and Dad enjoyed their time together. They got away on some memorable holidays. They went trips to New Zealand, Europe, and had some absolutely amazing train trips with their good friends Bill and Denise Swan. And when you talk to Mum about those trips, she would beam with happiness and fondness of those memories. She loved them. She was a fantastic mum, loving, caring, kind, always making sure we had everything we needed. Mum was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2018. She'd had some earlier back surgeries, suffered some nerve damage. All the years of standing on her feet, lifting cartons of beer, stocking freezers, cooking in the witches' kitchens had started taking their toll on her body. And her body was starting to fail her. She needed more help to do the basic things. However, Dad was there looking after her, and he would always say to her, "We'll manage somehow." Now, Dad took a severe health scare and had to be flown out to Brisbane, and Mum took it pretty hard. And I can remember receiving a phone call in the middle of the night to tell me that Dad had taken a turn for the worst and that he was nearing the end of his life. I drove in and managed to get my cousin Miranda, and the two of us were with him when he passed. When I write this tribute today, I think it's a little ironic that it was me, a person who has a personality very similar to Mum, that was with him just to slow him down a little bit so he didn't race off on his next adventure, give him time that everyone could ring in and say goodbye. And then when Mum was on her final journey, it was Ben, who has a personality a lot like Dad, that could be with her, reassure her, comfort her, and tell her that she'll be with him soon. It's funny how those things work out, but they just do. On that day when Dad passed, Ben rang me at 8 o'clock in the morning and said, "Listen, Mum's been up all night. She just wants to say one more goodbye." So I put the phone on speaker and I put it next to him. She told him that she loved him. Shit, I've done well too to this point.
That's it.
Yeah. And then said, "Don't leave me, Serge. You'd promised you'd never leave me." And from 1,000 kilometres away on that phone, I could hear her heart break. Dad died at 8:03, and a big piece of Mum died with him that day. All right, let's get this shit done. It's almost 4 years since we lost Dad, and Mum made the most of every day that she could. But she held a lot of guilt from not going to see him off on that airport when he flew out. And she held a lot of guilt for not flying down and seeing him after his big operations, neither of which he wanted her to do. You know what he's like. "I'll be home soon, you'll be right." Nevertheless, she was heartbroken and she had lost the love of her life. People say it's a terrible time for your mum to pass. And when I think of it, there's probably no good time, but it was her time. I'd been out to see her and spend some time with her over the Easter break. Ben and his boys got to spend some quality time with her in the car, and we did spellings. She was a great speller. She got home to be in her own bed for a couple of nights. Me and Trish got to wheel her down the street on Saturday, where she ran into some old friends and could buy a shit ton of chocolate, so she was happy. And even her granddaughter Sophie managed to arrive and surprise visit. She'd done all of that. Her body was hurting. She was putting up with a lot of pain and discomfort. It was her time. She didn't want to go away on any operations and managed to hold on just long enough so everyone she loved could say goodbye. She passed peacefully, surrounded by support and love, and most of all, she can now be laid alongside the man she loved, and her heart can be whole.
Yeah, you almost got there. Well done, mate. Well done. Yeah, all good. Thank you, Scotty. I'd like to call on Ken Churchill. Ken is obviously Mum's brother, so to say a few words. You going to wing it, mate?
Yeah, I'm winging it.
Good work.
Thanks, Benny. Just to reiterate what Scotty was saying about the job that Benny's done virtually since 11th September 2021, when Serge first left. Like how hard is it for a son to be main nurse for his mum and run a big business as well? So, and he's had tremendous support from Scotty at times. Obviously, it's worked out well. I'll just talking about Nel. I'll go back to I was the third in a family of 10, and Nerily was the second oldest. And Rabina was another sister older. So there was the two girls. Then there was me. I'm 3 years, basically 3 years younger than Nel. And she became Mum's instant babysitter, apparently. And Rabina bolted when she was only about 16, went and got married, the older one, so you couldn't blame her. And two more girls come along, and suddenly I'm the one boy and all these girls, and Nerily was the second mother. Mum seemed to be barefoot and pregnant every other year. I should have left all the comedy to the boys, actually. You know, she was an unbelievable woman. She was a mother's daughter, but what she found was an absolute unbelievable partner in life, and she had many happy times. She was a bit shy and reserved in the early days, which is unusual for a Churchill, but she went out to Barcaldine, as Benny and Scott were just talking. She went out there and put her head down and never complained about anything, and she was treated a bit of a bad hand at the end, but she's now with Serge, and we know all that. Getting back to her whole life story, she was born in Gympie. We went out to our father was a fettler in the railway. We went out to Mitchell, where I was born. Came back from there to Gympie. Went to Bathurst for a year or two, so we lived around a bit. She was sort of the guiding light for Mum in a lot of ways, because Rabina was gone, and there was all these other younger sisters and three brothers coming along, and here she is looking after the biggest ratbag of all, which was me. In 1967, Father got transferred from Gympie to Redbank, so the family went to Ipswich, and I stayed and lived nearly a year with Serge and Nerily in Gympie. And it was one of the best years I had in my life. Serge taught me how to drive a car. Mum she just treated me like I was her baby brother, which I was. And what she went out and did at times was pretty, was pretty sensational. I can remember in the days just before that, she was boy mad. Her and her great mate Judy Boyd were always out chasing the fellas when she was around the 16 mark in that area. She could only ever get out. Mum made her only if she went with me. I had to go out with her. So the younger brother hanging on, you know how that'd go. couple of them kicked me up the arse because I was a pain in the arse as far as I was concerned. There was one particular bloke, Dougie Lane. Mum hated it, and then when he kicked me up the arse, I sort of whacked him back, and Mum gave me a box of chocolates for that. She didn't like it. Anyway, next minute I'm playing in a game of footy at Albert Park in Gympie, and Serge is playing for Brothers and I'm playing for Wanderers, and I didn't know him all that well, but he's come out of the back row of the scrum, and he's got hold of my orchestra stalls accidentally, went to tackle me, and he's got me in the squirrel grip. And I said, if you don't let me know, you'll never, don't let me go, you'll never be my brother-in-law, you know. Anyway, we were pretty good mates after that. But I was in the wedding party. I was happened to be there when all that went on. Nell walked down the aisle with her beautiful son, Scotty, but Scotty didn't even know he was there. She's a character, this girl. She took on board, and just you saw how she came out of her shell when she first started going out with Serge, and then went out to the pub, and she really turned into someone sensational. You know, this whole situation with this disease, this horrible Parkinson's. I never remembered her complaining. I probably spoke to her on the phone 30, 40 times over the last few years, and saw her several times. She even come down and lived with us. They lived with us for 3 or 4 months while I was trying to diagnose exactly what was wrong with her. She just took it all in stride. She was very stoic, and I was immensely proud of them and of them both. And I'm glad the way the boys have set this up. It's sensational. They're back together, and I just think we'll enjoy a great drink for both of them because they both love to party. Vale mum.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, Uncle Ken. Now we'd like to call on Nikki Hooper, Nikki's mum's sister, so to say a few words that she's put together for us.
Yeah, I'm a bit shorter than the others.
Nice and loud, girl.
Now, Nerily was 14, turning 15 when I was born. A true big sister helping our mother look after us little ones. Nell took her responsibilities to look after us very seriously, and she never stopped looking after us. Nell would always listen, offer her advice and guidance without prejudice. She was a true nurturer, and I'm sure there are many people here today who would agree with me in regards to that. Nell was always there with a big hug and hello. Sorry. A hug to say hello, a hug to comfort when things were not so good, a hug to say goodbye, and a hug to say hello. I remember when my husband first met Nerily, she wrapped his arms around her. She wrapped his arms around him to say hello and said, "Welcome to the family. We're a family who give hugs." He wasn't quite used to that because his family wasn't a huggers like we are. Nell always said to have a go at anything. Try your best, do your best. May not always work out, but you gave it a go. And I think that's a philosophy she followed as well. Nell and Serge showed me the true meaning of love. To always be there for each other. I remember as a teenager staying out here at the pub one Christmas holidays. My younger sister Noni and Dougie were there as well. And Scott had been given a dragster bike. And the pub had closed for a night. We'd all packed, we'd cleaned up, and for some reason we were outside, and Scott was on this bike. And Nell said, "I've never ridden a push bike." Never. So Serge encouraged her to give it a go. Serge put his hand on the back of the seat and helped her to balance. Nell was a bit wobbly and she asked Serge to help. Now, I remember Nell saying, "Serge, don't let me go, please, don't let me go." Serge told her he would never let her go. until she was ready. He would always have her back. And a couple of things I'll always remember was he never let her go, ever. And he was always there for her. But Nell still can't ride a push bike.
Or drive a car.
Or drive a car, yes, or drive a car. Nell was a natural storyteller and a gatherer of stories. She had a story about everyone and anyone. All of her stories she loved telling stories about fun and laughter, the stories and adventures of her antics that her and Serge used to get up to, as well as all the things that she'd seen. Nell taught me that if you work hard, you can still party, and that life was meant to be fun. And she made it fun. Thank you.
Come on, give me a hug. Well done. You good now? Awesome. Thanks, Nikki. I'd like to now call on Dougie Churchill to come and say a few words about Mum. Doug?
So today we're here to celebrate the life of my beautiful sister, Nerily, or Nell as everyone called her, who touched the hearts of everyone she came across with her kindness and with uncanny ability to remember every person that she'd seen. My older sister was more than a sibling. She was a listening ear, on an unwavering support, and a giver of unconditional love when things weren't going so well in my younger life. I remember when I came to live with Nell and Serge, they accepted me as another child, but they did show me by example what hard work was, and especially discipline if you did the wrong thing. I am the man I am today because of their love and support. My sister may be gone, but she'll be forever in my heart.
Thanks, buddy. You gonna come up? You want me to do it with you? So, young Tomas wrote a poem today. Would you like me to read it? Okay. You want me to read this as well? Or just the poem?
Just the poem.
Just the poem? It's called In Our Hearts. We thought of you today, but that's nothing new. We thought of you yesterday and day before that too. We think of you in silence. We often speak your name. Now, all we have are the memories and your picture in a frame. Your memory is our keepsake, with which will never pass. God has you in his keeping. We have you in our hearts. The end. Love you now. Thanks, buddy. Awesome job. I wasn't crying for that. So now we come to our little farewell from Mum. Like I said earlier, Mum just wanted to be with Dad after Dad passed. So we found this box. We sat there and we worked out what the hell I was going to do with it the other day when no one was here. For those people that know my father really well, there's a couple of things that he loved. One was his mum. He loved his pub, but geez, he loved carpet tiles. He loved them that much. It was on every inch of the floor in the Union Hotel, from his bedroom to his lounge room to his office to the back veranda to every room, every single inch. So when Scotty and I were going through the shed, which has been there for a long time with a lot of stuff in it, we found these carpet tiles, brand new ones, which is very, very strange for Dad, because he would have usually had them down and put the old ones in the shed. We threw away 14 cartons of those. From the original green, if those people remember the original green, Bobby and Helen would, and all those, to the ugly brown ones, to these really newer ones, which are still 15-year-old. So I was sitting there going, I don't have the time or the inclination to seal this box up and do all this sort of stuff. So I found a bit of timber in the office that had all the shelving in it that Dad put together when he first arrived in the 70s. I got the carpet tiles and a knife out and I cut it and I put it all inside it. I found a bit of checker plate that he had left over from when he renovated the pub in 1990. As you know, he never threw one single thing out. So everything that's there at the moment, there inside there is a part of Mum and Dad's life and Mum and Dad's history. So yesterday afternoon, me and Scotty had nothing to do, so I thought, well, we got Mum the day before, we better put them together, eh? So funny story. So here we are up in the laundry all by ourselves. We're going, how the hell are we going to get all these ashes out of these bottles? Because if you don't know, they've got this little plug in there that you got to flick out. So I'm here with a screwdriver. He's there with a chisel trying to get these plugs out. And we finally got them out. And then, I'm not sure, and I don't mean to be crass, but it usually goes, poof. So here we are sitting and Scotty and I are looking at each other going, and we didn't say a word, but he said what I said and I said what he said. Oh, we got Mum on our hands. So we looked at each other again and we just sort of went. And she would have laughed at that, she would have laughed. Anyway, so we got her in there, we put Dad in there as well. Dad was on the bottom, we put Mum on top and a bit more Dad on the top as well, because you know he always want to have the last say and we always want to be at the top. So they thought, I can't leave them like that. So I got the chisel and I give them a bit of a stir up. So we stirred them all up in there and we put them together and we sort of, I thought, well, do we pat it out? No, we're not touching it because we've still got Mum all over our hands. So we stuck in there. For those that don't know, Mum loved giraffes. So she had a million of them. We've spent the last 4 days just packing up the giraffes. So we stuck a giraffe in there. Scotty found Dad's whiskey flask, so we stuck a bit of white heather in there for him. It's leaking, so we've just let it leak in there, so at least that it'll just be able to both of them get a drink. And we looked at each other and went, we ready now? So yeah, so we put the checker plate on and screwed it down and, oh, sorry, we stuck their wedding photo in there too, just in case they forgot they were married, so. And the last thing we put in there was their wedding rings. So Mum passed away, you'll probably see in your booklet that's a photo of me and Mum holding hands just before she passed. So I've rambled on enough, I just thought I'd share that with you. So we're going to lower Mum and Dad's ashes down. So I'm going to ask Scotty to come up and do that with me. And then we're going to obviously ask the family and friends to come up. We've got some, what are they called? Bougainvillea flowers, which Mum loved. We picked that from Carmen's place. So we're going to do that as well. So we invite you then. And then at the end, we'll invite you all to come along to the, where are we going? Racecourse and the Racecourse Bar. I'd like to thank the Rugby League for doing that for us. I'd like to thank so many people, the hospital staff. I want to thank the wonderful girls from Hack that looked after Mum when she was in her last couple of years in Buckhorn. And I want to thank Blackall Aged Care Facility, which just made Mum's day those last few weeks, and the Blackall Hospital as well, and everyone else that helped Mum along the way. And I want to thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. You've been absolutely fantastic in Mum's life, and we'll bloody miss her, that's for sure. Which side do you want to be on, mate?
I never knew you were the someone waiting for me, 'cause we were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time, but darling, just kiss me slow. Your heart dark with you between my arms. Barefoot on the grass, listening to our favorite song. When you said you looked a mess, I whispered underneath my breath, but you
He's going to fall in the hole.
heard it, darling, you look
A little fella.
Sei la mia donna, la forza delle onde del mare,
Pacelli.
con i sogni miei segreti, molto di più. Spero che un giorno l'amore che ci ha accompagnato diventi casa, la mia famiglia, diventi noi, e siamo sempre bambini, ma nulla impossibile, stavolta non ti lascerò, mi baci piano ed io torno ad esistere.
Everybody else was gone.
Stretti forte poi a piedi nudi noi, dentro la nostra musica ti ho guardata ridere e sussurrando ho detto tu stasera vedi sei perfetta per me. Stretti forte poi dentro la nostra
Coming out. I love you guys. Thank you. Tried to nail that fucker. I got dads. I've read that thing 50 times and I get to that same spot. I was almost tempted to cross it out. No, it's supposed to be there.